This is Whispers of the Universe. Let the world slow down around you. Tonight, we drift into the endless blue where oceans breathe like the heartbeat of the earth. Take a slow breath. Let the weight of the day soften. Let your thoughts rest like sand sinking beneath the tide. The ocean is waiting, vast and calm, ancient and alive. Close your eyes if you like. Listen, not just with your ears, but with your imagination. Hear the whisper of waves folding one over another, the gentle hush that has echoed since before there were cities, before there were voices, before even the first creatures crawled upon land. The ocean has always been singing, and tonight it sings for you. The surface shimmers beneath the moonlight. Silver paths stretch across the water, broken into fragments with every ripple, only to join again. It feels as though the sea itself is breathing, in and out. Waves rising, waves falling, a rhythm older than any human memory. This is the heartbeat of the planet, a steady pulse that has never stopped, not for storms, not for ages, not for anything. Every tide is pulled by the moon, that pale companion above, tugging at the oceans with invisible hands. When the sea rises, when it falls, it is not chance. It is choreography, a cosmic dance between earth, moon, and sun. And yet, when you listen to it, it does not feel like astronomy. It feels like a lullaby, a slow rocking, as though the entire planet were cradled in invisible arms. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the shore. The night air is cool, filled with the scent of salt and the faint trace of seaweed. The sand beneath your feet is damp, holding the memory of waves that kissed it moments ago. Each wave comes forward, bows, and retreats. Another follows, then another. It never ends. The ocean does not hurry. It does not tire. It does not demand. It simply arrives, again and again, a promise renewed with every breath of water. And as you stand there, you feel it, the hush of the tide slipping into your chest, synchronizing with your own heartbeat. Your body begins to slow. Your mind begins to float. The ocean is no longer outside you. It is within you. Think of how long the sea has existed, billions of years. Before mountains rose, before forests grew, before rivers carved valleys into stone, there was ocean, vast, endless, covering nearly the entire world. Life itself began here, in the soft chemistry of water. Tiny cells, too small to see, found warmth and shelter in the cradle of the sea. From them, everything came: fish, birds, trees, people. Every heartbeat that has ever existed carries within it the salt of those first oceans. Even in your veins and in every drop of blood, there is a whisper of seawater. You are not separate from the ocean. You are an echo of it. And so, when you listen to waves, when you hear that gentle hush in the dark, perhaps it feels familiar, because it is home. It is the place your body remembers, the place your ancestors once floated, the place life itself first learned to dream. Now imagine drifting away from the shore. There is no effort, no swimming. The sea itself carries you, lifting you as gently as a mother carries a child. The stars above shimmer on the surface so that you are suspended between two skies, the one above and the one reflected below. It is hard to tell where heaven ends and water begins. You are between worlds, floating in a cradle of light. Beneath you, the ocean is deep, deeper than mountains are tall, deeper than your thoughts can measure. If you let yourself fall, you would descend for hours, for days, and still the sea would continue beneath you. It is a cathedral of silence, a temple of pressure and shadow, filled with mysteries we have not yet touched. And yet, even this depth, even this silence is not empty. It is alive. Creatures drift there with lights upon their skin, tiny lanterns glowing in the dark. Their bodies shimmer like stars beneath the water. The deep ocean is not emptiness. It is a night sky turned upside down. Above, the waves continue their soft rhythm, sometimes gentle, like a whisper on your pillow, sometimes strong, like a hand guiding a boat toward the horizon, but always steady, always there, as though the ocean has promised to never let the earth be silent. It is strange, isn't it? How something so vast, so powerful, can also feel so comforting. The sea can rise in storms, yes. It can roar with waves taller than houses. It can scatter ships and carve cliffs. But in its quietest moments, in its nightly breathing, it is nothing but kindness. It is the kind of strength that does not crush. It soothes. Tonight, let the ocean carry you. There is no need to resist. There is no need to guide the current. It knows the way. It has known the way since the world was young. All you must do is drift. The water will do the rest. Feel your thoughts dissolving one by one, like shells melting back into the tide. Feel your body loosening, like sand falling through fingers. Feel yourself becoming lighter, quieter, until you too are part of the sea. There are no worries here, no clocks, no weight of tomorrow, only the present, only the hush of waves repeating softly, endlessly. And in that endless rhythm, you will find rest. You may wonder as you listen, why does the sea sound so calming? Science has an answer. Waves create patterns of sound called pink noise. Unlike harsh noise, pink noise is balanced. Deep, low frequencies blend with higher ones in harmony. It is the sound of rain, the rustle of leaves, the heartbeat itself. It lulls the brain, smoothing out jagged thoughts, guiding you toward sleep. When you hear the sea, your mind remembers safety. It remembers being rocked, being cradled. It remembers the womb, the earliest ocean of all. So in a way, listening to waves is listening to yourself, to the memory of where you came from, to the comfort of being held without asking, without needing, without fear. Let the ocean remind you, you do not need to hold everything tonight. You do not need to solve, to strive, to push. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to float. Like driftwood carried by the tide, you are carried. Like the moon pulling the sea, you are pulled. Like the stars reflected in the water, you are shining without effort. The ocean whispers, you belong. You are safe. You can sleep. Now, take one last slow breath, in and out. The tide is waiting. The waves are gentle. The night is soft. Rest now. Drift now. In the endless heart of blue, the night is still and the sea is waiting. Not with urgency, not with force, but with patience. The first wave arrives like a breath, rolling softly toward the shore. It curls, it whispers, it folds upon itself, and then it disappears into the sand. And yet, it does not end. Another follows, then another. A chain without beginning, without conclusion, as though the world itself is exhaling forever. Stand there, if only in your mind, and watch. The water darkens and glimmers all at once, reflecting moonlight as silver fragments scattered across black silk. The horizon stretches wide and endless, but your attention rests on the wave at your feet. It is small, simple, and yet infinite. The first wave is never truly the first. It carries with it echoes of countless others, each born of wind, of current, of unseen energies, moving across the surface of the world. Listen carefully. Do you hear the hush? It is not a voice in words, but a rhythm in sound. The wave approaches, hush. The wave retreats, hush. The sound is ancient, unchanged across millennia. The same sound heard by the first humans who walked along these shores. The same sound heard by animals long before that, when no cities rose, when the only lights were stars. The ocean speaks in this language, simple, endless, steady, and your body recognizes it, as though somewhere deep within your bones there is a memory of being rocked by the same rhythm. The wave is more than sound. It is movement, a delicate transfer of energy across distance. The water itself does not march forward in mass. Each droplet simply rises, falls, and returns, while the energy continues onward, wave after wave. It is a traveler without form, carried endlessly. In this way, the sea teaches us a quiet truth. You can move forward without forcing yourself to be more than you are. The water does not need to strain. It does not need to struggle. It simply rises and falls, and the journey continues. Perhaps you feel the same lesson in your own breath. Inhale, your chest rises. Exhale, it falls. You are not holding the air. You are not controlling it. You are simply allowing it to flow, as the ocean allows the waves to flow. Nothing more is required, and in that acceptance lies rest. Kneel down in the sand and let the first wave touch you. It is cool, refreshing, but also gentle. It does not seek to overwhelm. It greets you as it greets the shore, with familiarity, with calm. For centuries, for ages, it has been performing this gesture. Each time the tide reaches forward, it bows to the land, and each time it retreats, it leaves behind a gift, a trace of foam, a glimmer of salt, a memory that lingers for just a moment before dissolving. Your own thoughts are like those traces. A worry arrives, bows at the edge of your awareness, and then recedes. Perhaps it leaves a faint mark, but soon another wave follows, and the mark is gone. The ocean shows you how to let go, not by force, not by denial, but by the simple patience of allowing time, allowing movement, allowing the rhythm to wash things clean. Now imagine watching wave after wave for hours. At first, your mind resists. It wants to count, to measure, to analyze. But soon, the sheer endlessness defeats that urge. There are too many. You cannot count them all. You cannot predict them. And slowly, you surrender. You stop measuring, and you simply feel. And in that surrender, there is peace. It is the same surrender that brings sleep. You cannot force yourself to fall asleep. You cannot demand rest, but you can allow it. Like the wave, sleep comes when it is ready, and when it does, It carries you effortlessly, as though you were nothing more than a leaf drifting on a tide. Notice how every wave is different, and yet every wave is the same. Some rise higher, some fall softer, some carry foam, some slide silently. But the rhythm is constant. Approach, retreat, approach, retreat. This constancy is the lullaby of the earth. Even in chaos, even in storms, beneath all the noise, the rhythm endures. And perhaps that is what comforts us. The knowledge that something so vast can remain steady, that even when our lives shift, when our days change, when our thoughts scatter like sand in the wind, the ocean continues. It does not waver. It does not forget its rhythm. It is faithful in its endless song. Look again at the first wave. It is small, easily overlooked, easily dismissed. But without the first, there is no second. Without the small, there is no vast. The greatest swells of the deep begin as small ripples, whispers of wind upon water. Every beginning is like this, humble, unassuming, easily missed. And yet, beginnings carry everything within them. As you listen tonight, as you drift into rest, remember that each moment of calm you grant yourself is like that first wave. It may feel small, it may feel insignificant, but it carries forward, joining with the next and the next, until it becomes a tide, until it becomes a sea of peace. Now close your eyes more deeply. Let the image of the first wave settle within you. See it approach in slow motion, curling forward, touching the sand, and then retreating. See it again, again. No hurry, no pressure, only rhythm, only flow. Feel it in your breath, in and out. The wave arrives, the wave returns. Your body is the shore, your breath is the tide. Together, they create the lullaby of rest. The night continues, the waves continue, and you are carried with them, not as an outsider, but as part of the same movement. You are not standing apart from the ocean. You are the ocean. Your thoughts rise and fall like waves. Your heart beats with the same rhythm. Your body is filled with water that once belonged to seas, that once flowed with tides, that once rose and fell with moons. You are not separate. You are continuous. And in that continuity lies comfort. So let the first wave carry you tonight, not just into sleep, but into the memory of where you came from, into the rhythm that has never left you. Drift now in the hush of the tide. The ocean is singing. The first wave has already arrived. The tide waits patiently beneath the moon. It does not rush, it does not falter. It rises with invisible hands, as though the earth itself is breathing deeper, fuller, then slowly releasing. The shoreline shifts with every movement. Rocks glisten for a moment before the water swallows them again. Sand darkens, then brightens, then darkens once more. The world itself seems to pulse with this rhythm, a pattern older than memory. Above, the moon drifts slowly through the sky. It pulls at the ocean the way a dream pulls at the edges of the mind. You cannot see the strings, but you can feel the tug. The water lifts, as if reaching upward to meet the pale companion. Then it falls, as if bowing in reverence. This is the dance of tide and moon, a choreography without audience, performed for billions of years without pause. Imagine lying on a quiet beach as the tide rolls in. The air is cool, filled with salt, and the faint whisper of seaweed drying in the night. The sand beneath you softens with every approach of water. First, it brushes your toes. Then it reaches higher, folding gently around your legs. Then it recedes, leaving you lighter, as though it has carried away the weight of the day. The tide is not hurried. It is patient, deliberate, eternal. The sound is steady, low, resonant, not sharp like rain, not chaotic like wind. It is the earth breathing through water, the inhale, the exhale, repeated endlessly. Your own lungs cannot help but follow, in and out. The tide teaches you how to breathe again. It slows the rhythm of your body until you are no longer separate from the shore. You are part of the tide, drawn upward and downward by the same celestial hand. This movement is more than comfort. It is the planet's clock. For ages, people measured time not with numbers, but with water. The tide told fishermen when to set sail. It told gatherers when to walk out onto the sand to collect shellfish. It told ancient travelers when the paths across shallow bays would open and when they would vanish. Even today, entire coastlines live by the rhythm of the tide, as though the moon itself were whispering instructions. But tonight, it is not instruction you seek, it is peace, and the tide gives it freely. Every rise tells you that you are safe. Every fall tells you that you can let go. It does not matter what has been carried here by the water. Driftwood, leaves, fragments of forgotten boats. The tide accepts it all, and in time, it carries it away. So too with your thoughts. They arrive, they linger, and then they are drawn back into the vastness, dissolved, forgotten. Picture the tide not only at your feet, but in your mind. Each worry is a shell placed upon the sand. The water arrives, smooths it, shifts it, pulls it gently away. Another wave comes, and another, until the shore is clean again. There is no struggle, no resistance, only patience, only the certainty that nothing remains forever on the shore. Everything is carried away in time. The moon above does not hurry. It has circled this planet for as long as there has been ocean. It does not tire. It does not forget. Its pull is constant, invisible, eternal. And because of that, the tide never ceases. Imagine the comfort in that certainty. No matter what changes, no matter what storms may come, the tide will return. It will rise, it will fall, it will continue. Just as night follows day, just as rest follows wakefulness. As you listen, notice how your body begins to mirror this rhythm. Your breath is tied, your heartbeat is tied. Every pulse, every inhale, every exhale is another wave upon the shore. And as you fall deeper into stillness, the line between body and sea begins to blur. You are not lying upon the sand. You are the sand. You are not listening to the water. You are the water. The tide moves through you as surely as it moves through the ocean itself. In the darkness of night, the sea glows faintly. Foam shimmers with starlight, edges sparkling like silver threads. It looks as though the sky has dipped its fingers into the water and painted with light. Every crest is a star, every trough a shadowed valley. You are adrift between heaven and earth, suspended in this endless rhythm. Let yourself sink into it. Not sink as in falling, but sink as in belonging. The tide does not demand that you swim, that you fight, that you resist. It asks only that you follow. It lifts you when it rises. It lowers you when it falls. It cradles you the way the world cradles its moon, and in that cradle, there is nothing to do, only to rest. Think of the countless times this rhythm has played. When empires rose and crumbled, the tide continued. When mountains shifted, when forests grew, the tide continued. Long before you were born, long after you are gone, it will continue. This is not something you must hold. It is something that holds you. The tide is older than your fears, stronger than your doubts, gentler than your dreams. It waits for you always, whispering, breathe, release, drift. Now imagine closing your eyes completely. The sound of the tide is no longer outside you. It is within. Your chest rises and falls, the shore of your body meeting the water of your breath. You are no longer watching the tide. You are tide. You are ocean. You are moon. The rhythm is unbroken. It carries you where you need to go. You do not need to guide it. You do not need to control it. You only need to listen and rest. The tide is not a stranger. It is the quiet companion that has been with you all along. And tonight, it will carry you deeper, farther, into the endless blue. Let it rise. Let it fall. Let it wash through you until you dissolve into its rhythm. There is no separation now. You are the tide, and you are home. Under the pale sky, the sea waits, calm and endless, carrying its quiet strength across every horizon. You sit near the water's edge, and for a moment you notice something small, almost hidden among the vastness. A single drop falls, perhaps from the air, perhaps from the spray of a wave, perhaps from the night mist, and it touches the surface. The ocean responds with circles. One ring, then another, then another. They widen, they overlap, they fade, and then the water returns to stillness as though nothing had happened at all. But something has happened. The moment a drop touches the ocean, movement begins. It does not stay confined to the place of arrival. It travels outward, carrying the memory of that single touch farther and farther. Though the rings may vanish from your eyes, the energy continues, blending with the great currents, merging with the vast tide. This is the truth of the ocean. Nothing remains, only where it began. Every small motion becomes part of something larger. Think of your own thoughts, the ones that rise and fall through your mind. They are like drops striking the surface. Each one creates ripples. Some are small, fading almost instantly. Others stretch far, overlapping, altering the quiet of the mind. But in time, every ripple dissolves back into the great stillness beneath. No thought is forever. No feeling is endless. The ocean reminds you of this truth. The ripples are mesmerizing. They spread with patience, perfectly circular, perfectly balanced. It does not matter where the drop lands. The pattern is always the same. Outward, outward, outward. It is geometry written upon water. It is the simplest mathematics of nature, and yet the most soothing. Even in chaos, the ocean creates symmetry. Even in restlessness, there is order. Now imagine hundreds of drops, rain falling on the sea, each drop a new beginning, each one sending circles racing outward. For a moment, The surface is alive with patterns, overlapping, colliding, dissolving. And yet the sea does not resist. It accepts them all. Every circle belongs. Every circle is allowed to expand until it fades into the whole. What if your mind could be like this? Allowing every thought, every memory, every worry to appear, to ripple outward, and then to fade without grasping, without resistance. The circles remind us that nothing is separate. A single drop may seem small, but it touches the infinite. Its energy becomes part of the sea, inseparable from the whole. So too with you. Every breath, every heartbeat, every dream becomes part of something larger. You are not apart from the world. You are one ripple in the endless ocean of being. Let yourself imagine now that you are the drop. You fall softly, silently, from the night sky. You touch the water. At first, there is only a small impact, a delicate sound, almost nothing. But then you feel yourself spreading, your presence moving outward in rings of light. You expand and expand and expand until you are no longer the drop, but the ocean itself. The boundary between self and sea dissolves. You are no longer falling. You are endless. This image carries a quiet comfort, because the ripples teach us that even the smallest action matters. Even the smallest presence is not lost. A whisper, a glance, a moment of kindness, all of it expands outward, touching shores you may never see. So too with your inner life. A single moment of rest, a single deep breath becomes part of the greater rhythm of peace. By choosing calm tonight, you create ripples that extend beyond this hour, into tomorrow, into the lives you touch. Watch again the circles upon water. Notice how they overlap. One ripple meets another, and together they create a new pattern, unexpected, unique, fleeting. Life is like this. Your ripple touches others. The patterns that form cannot be predicted, cannot be controlled, but they exist and they matter. The ocean reminds us that the beauty of existence is not in permanence, but in the delicate patterns that emerge for a moment, then vanish. And in their vanishing, there is peace. Now imagine the circles glowing faintly in moonlight. Each ring shimmers silver, spreading outward like threads of light across the surface. The ocean becomes a mirror, painted with moving halos. You sit and watch as they appear and disappear, a silent orchestra of motion, and with every circle, your mind softens. The ripples become your breath. They arrive with the inhale, they expand with the exhale, and then they fade into the stillness that follows. The rhythm is endless. The rhythm is safe. You may wonder, why is this so calming? Why does the sight of water moving outward in circles bring such quiet to the heart? Perhaps it is because it mirrors the truth of sleep itself. A thought arrives. It spreads through the mind, it touches dreams, and then it fades. Another thought arrives, and then another, until at last even the ripples stop, and only deep, silent rest remains. Sleep is not the absence of motion, but the acceptance of fading motion. The ocean teaches us how to rest by showing us how to let each circle complete itself. Consider too how the ripples never return inward. They always move outward, away, toward vastness. So too with your worries. They do not stay. They leave. They spread thinner and thinner until they dissolve into nothing. You need not hold them. You need not call them back. They are carried outward, away, into the endless blue. The ripples also reveal patience. They do not hurry. They do not leap forward. They spread at their own pace, each circle slower, wider, gentler. So too can your mind move tonight. No need to rush toward rest. No need to demand silence. Let your stillness widen slowly, gently, as ripples do. With every breath, the circle expands. With every heartbeat, the stillness deepens. Look again at the water. It seems calm now, yet beneath the surface, energy has traveled far. The ripples you saw have blended with others, carried by the tide, by the wind, by the vastness itself. Even what seems gone is still part of the whole. This is the secret of the ocean. Nothing is lost. Everything is carried. So tonight, let your own ripples fade. Let your thoughts fall like drops into water. Do not resist them. Do not cling to them. Watch them spread. Watch them soften. Watch them vanish. And when they do, know that they are not wasted. They have joined the great ocean of silence that carries you into rest. The night grows deeper, the stars brighter, and the ripples slower. Even the waves seem to hush, as though the entire sea were preparing for sleep. And you, sitting here, are part of that preparation. You are the drop, the ripple, the tide, the stillness. You are not separate. You are ocean. Drift now with the circles. Drift outward, ever outward, until you are endless. Let the ripples carry you into the vast, the calm, the infinite heart of blue. The ocean exhales, and the world softens. It inhales, and the world expands. You may not notice it at first, because its rhythm is vast, stretched across hours and tides. But if you listen long enough, you can feel it. The sea breathes, not with lungs, not with ribs, not with flesh, but with water itself. Each wave is an exhalation. Each retreat is an inhalation. And together, they form the slow, eternal breathing of the planet. Stand at the shore and close your eyes. Let the sound of the waves settle into your body. Soon, you will find that your chest rises and falls in time with the ocean. Not because you are forcing it, but because something within you remembers. Your breath has always belonged to larger rhythms. It began in the womb, where you floated in water. It continues now, in air pulled through lungs. But it is not separate from the breath of the world. It has always been part of a greater tide. The air itself is born of oceans. Every breath you take carries traces of the sea. Plankton drifting near the surface exhale oxygen, releasing it into wind and sky. Without them, there would be no air to breathe. The invisible forests of the ocean give life not only to whales and fish, but to you here tonight. So when you inhale, you are inhaling the ocean. And when you exhale, the ocean receives it back. You are part of its breath. It is part of yours. This exchange is ancient. The earth has breathed like this for billions of years. Tides rising, tides falling, winds stirring, winds quieting. The pattern has not broken, not once, through all of history. It continued when mountains rose. It continued when glaciers melted. It continued when people built cities of stone, when they built towers of glass. Even as empires fell, Even as languages vanished, the breath of the ocean endured. Imagine yourself floating on the surface, carried by that breath. The water lifts you gently, as though inhaling. It lowers you again, as though exhaling. You do not need to move. You do not need to guide. Your body is simply cradled in the lungs of the sea, and with every rise and fall, you sink deeper into calm. Notice how your own breath slows to match. At first, perhaps it is quick, restless, full of thought. But as the waves repeat, steady and patient, your lungs adjust. You breathe slower, deeper. Each inhale is long, smooth, unhurried. Each exhale is softer, quieter, almost weightless. It is as though your body has remembered something it forgot, the art of breathing without struggle. The ocean does not labor when it breathes. It does not force the tide. It does not demand that the wind obey. It allows. And in that allowing lies its power. So too with you. Your breath need not be effort. It is a gift you receive and a gift you return. When you inhale, you are given. When you exhale, you release. There is balance in that exchange, a balance that carries you into rest. Consider how the ocean's breath connects all life. Fish draw water across their gills, pulling oxygen dissolved from plankton's gift. Birds inhale wind shaped by waves. Forests drink clouds born of evaporated seas. Even your body, the blood in your veins, the water in your cells, is tied to this rhythm. Every inhale you take tonight is part of a cycle that began before there were humans. Every exhale you release tonight returns to the same ocean that gave you air. Perhaps this is why the sea comforts us so deeply. It is not merely a sound, not merely a view. It is recognition. Our bodies know the rhythm because we are made from it. Our lungs echo the waves because they were born of water. Our hearts beat in time with tides because life itself began in the breath of the sea. Now, take a slow breath and imagine the ocean breathing with you. As you inhale, the tide draws back, gathering. As you exhale, the tide rolls forward, releasing. You are not alone in your rhythm. You are joined by the world itself. There is no separation between your body and the vast body of water that cradles the earth. You are breathing together. Imagine being deep beneath the waves, where currents move like steady sighs. The water presses around you, not harsh, but embracing. Every swell is an inhale. Every drift is an exhale. You float weightless, your chest rising and falling in perfect synchrony with the sea. There are no clocks here, no urgency. Only the endless patience of the ocean's lungs. This is why we sleep to the sound of waves, because it reminds us how to breathe. It teaches us the rhythm of release. The noise of the day is sharp, uneven, hurried, but the sea is slow, rounded, eternal. Its sound pulls you back into balance, and in that balance, sleep comes. Think of the countless creatures carried by this breath. A jelly drifting in the tide, a whale rising to the surface, exhaling in a mist before sinking again. A bird skimming the waves, its wings catching the breeze born of ocean air. All of them living in the same rhythm, all of them breathing with you tonight. The ocean whispers, "Do not hold your breath in worry. Do not quicken it with fear. Breathe as I breathe, slowly, endlessly, without demand. And in time, you will find rest. Let your body melt into that rhythm now. Inhale with the tide. Exhale with the tide. There is no rush, no measure, no need to be anywhere else. The ocean's breath is enough. It carries you. It rocks you. It reminds you that you are safe. The night deepens, the stars shimmer, and still the ocean breathes. It will continue long after you close your eyes, long after you surrender to sleep. Its lungs are endless, and you are part of them. So rest now, knowing that your breath is not alone. It belongs to the tide, to the sea, to the endless heart of blue. Beneath the surface, where the moonlight no longer reaches, there is a world of hidden rivers. They do not sing with foamy crests. They do not break upon the shore, but they move with a force older than any story. These are the undercurrents, the secret veins of the sea. They are invisible from above, yet they shape everything. They carry warmth across oceans. They guide storms. They weave together distant coasts with threads of water. They are the breath beneath the breath, the pulse beneath the heartbeat. Imagine yourself drifting just below the surface, where the water grows darker and the sound of waves softens into a low hum. At first, it feels still, but if you remain long enough, you begin to feel it, the pull. It does not drag, it does not seize. It simply draws you, steady, insistent, gentle. It is like a hand placed on your back, guiding you forward without words. That is the undercurrent. It moves even when you cannot see it. It carries you even when you believe you are still. Scientists call them gyres, circulations, conveyor belts of water that travel across the globe. Warm currents rise from the equator, cold currents sink from the poles. Together they create a balance, mixing, stirring, distributing life itself. Without them, climates would collapse. Without them, the sea would stagnate. Without them, the earth would lose its rhythm. And yet, though their force shapes continents, on the scale of your body they feel like a whisper, barely there, but always present. Think of the undercurrents within yourself, the quiet thoughts that drift beneath the surface of awareness, the feelings you cannot name, yet they guide your choices, your dreams, your sleep. You may not always see them, but they move you all the same. Like the ocean's hidden rivers, your inner currents carry memory, emotion, the unseen weight of experience. They do not shout, they do not crash, they flow in silence, shaping who you are. Lying here tonight, you can sense them if you wish. The rise and fall of your chest, the rhythm of your heart, the faint hum of thought as it drifts and dissolves. These are your currents. They are not enemies to be silenced, but companions to be followed. If you resist, they tug harder. If you allow, they carry you gently. And where they carry you is always toward rest. Picture yourself sinking deeper into the sea. The light fades from blue to indigo, from indigo to black, and yet you do not fear. That undercurrent surrounds you, supports you, moves you forward as though you were a traveler upon an unseen road. You need no map. You need no effort. The water itself knows the way. For millions of years, these currents have moved ceaselessly. They carried drifting continents. They shaped shorelines. They spread nutrients that allowed plankton to bloom, fish to thrive, whales to sing. They stitch together the history of the planet in patient, swirling strokes. And tonight, they stitch you into their rhythm. Your rest becomes part of their endless circulation. There is a stillness in surrendering to them. Imagine your body no longer resisting gravity, no longer fighting thought. You are carried, like a leaf upon a river, like a cloud upon a breeze. You are guided by something larger. You do not need to decide. You do not need to control. You only need to trust the hidden tide. Some say the undercurrents are like memory. They return, looping, circling the globe, as if the ocean itself remembers. A droplet that sinks in the Arctic may rise again decades later near the equator, changed but not lost. So too with you. The feelings you think forgotten return as dreams. The stories you believe gone resurface in whispers. But like the sea, you do not cling to them. You allow them to circulate, to rise and sink, to pass through you without end. And in that movement, there is peace, because nothing is truly lost. Not in the ocean, not in you. Everything is carried. Everything is transformed. Everything finds its place. Now breathe slowly, deeply. Feel the current beneath your ribs. The inhale rises like warm water lifted toward the surface. The exhale falls like cool water sinking into depth. You are your own ocean, with hidden rivers flowing endlessly. And when you let them flow, you discover you are whole. The night grows quieter. The stars above glimmer faintly, as if watching their reflections far below. But beneath you, the sea continues its secret work. Its currents move without pause, weaving warmth, carrying silence, rocking you into stillness. You need not rise. You need not fall. The current does both for you. Drift now into its embrace. Let the undercurrent hold you. It is steady, eternal, safe. It knows the way. And as you follow, you sink deeper into rest, deeper into sleep, deeper into the endless heart of blue. Beneath the surface, where even the strongest currents begin to quiet, there is a silence so profound it feels like another world. The deeper you drift, the more the colors fade. First, the bright turquoise disappears. Then the deep blues soften into shadow. Soon, there is only darkness, a vastness where light no longer reigns. This is the quiet of the deep ocean, not empty, not lifeless, but hushed beyond imagining. Close your eyes and imagine yourself descending slowly, gently, as though the sea itself is carrying you downward in its arms. The weight of the world above slips away. The roar of waves, the rush of wind, the chatter of the shore all vanish. The water grows heavier, but thicker, but you are not afraid. It presses not as a burden, but as an embrace. The deeper you go, the more complete the stillness becomes. Down here, there is no day and no night. The sun never arrives. The moon never touches the waves. The clock of the surface world is irrelevant. Time does not tick, it drifts. This is the timeless chamber of the planet, a sanctuary carved of water and silence. And as you sink into it, your thoughts begin to mirror the stillness. They no longer rise sharply or scatter. They slow, lengthen, soften, until even they begin to fade. It is said that the deep ocean holds pressures beyond imagination, crushing, immense, like invisible mountains pressing from every side. And yet, within this pressure, life persists. Strange creatures glide with calm dignity, built not to resist the weight, but to belong to it. So too with you. The pressures of your day may feel heavy, but when you surrender, you discover you can endure. You are not broken by the weight. You are shaped by it. You belong even here in the silence of depth. Listen closely, even in your imagination. The sound is not the crash of surf. It is not the call of gulls or the rush of wind. It is the hum of stillness, a low, endless tone like the breath of the earth itself. It seeps into you, fills you, wraps you until you too are humming with silence. Every muscle loosens, every thought softens. The hush of the deep ocean becomes your own hush. In this darkness, strange lights appear. Tiny sparks drift across the void, living lanterns carried by fragile bodies. They glow in pulses like stars scattered through an underwater sky. Some blink rhythmically, some shine steady, some burst and fade like fireflies in eternal night. They are not there to illuminate, not truly. They are signals, whispers, conversations in the dark. Life speaking softly to life. And in their quiet company, you do not feel alone. The deep is silent, but it is not empty. Think of these lights as thoughts within your own mind. In the stillness of deep rest, a few gentle sparks remain. Not loud, not overwhelming, just soft flickers of imagination. Dreams, perhaps, or fragments of memory. They drift in and out, never demanding, never lasting. They remind you that even in silence, the mind holds a little light, not to disturb, but to comfort. Deeper still, the pressure grows, but so does the calm. Here the ocean floor lies, vast and ancient. It is the foundation of the sea, a landscape few eyes have ever seen. Mountains rise unseen, valleys stretch unseen, plains of quiet sand extend farther than deserts above. And yet, no matter how far, the silence holds. The weight of water keeps everything still, steady, eternal. This is the stillness you are sinking into tonight. Not an emptiness, but a depth that supports you completely. Imagine lying upon that seabed, weightless despite the immensity. The sand cradles you, the water shields you, the silence enfolds you. There is no need to move. There is no need to think. Every part of you is protected, held, supported. This is the embrace of the deep ocean, and it is also the embrace of deep sleep. Just as creatures down here surrender to pressure and darkness, you surrender to rest. You allow yourself to belong to it. There is a peace here, unlike any other. On the surface, peace can be fragile, broken by noise or motion. But here, nothing intrudes. Here, silence is complete. Even the smallest sound is swallowed, dissolved, forgotten. And so too with your worries. They may rise like bubbles for a moment, but soon they vanish, absorbed by the vastness. You cannot hold them here. The deep ocean takes them, and they are gone. Some call this realm alien, but it is closer to home than you imagine. For in your own body, in your own mind, there is also a deep ocean. A place below the surface of waking thought, below the tide of dreams, where silence reigns. This is deep sleep. It is dark. It is quiet. It is timeless. And though it may seem distant, it is within you, always. When you surrender to rest, you sink into that ocean. You drift downward until you are surrounded by stillness, by calm, by the quiet heartbeat of existence itself. Here, there are no stories, no images, no voices, only silence. But it is a nourishing silence, a silence that repairs, that restores, that strengthens. Your body heals here, cell by cell. Your mind clears here, thought by thought. Your soul finds its rhythm here, breath by breath. It is the foundation of rest, the seabed of your being. Stay here as long as you wish. Let the silence soak into you, like water into sand. Let the darkness wrap you like a blanket of velvet waves. There is no rush, there is no end. There is only the hush of depth, the stillness of the sea, the infinite calm that waits below all storms. And as you linger in this depth, remember, you are safe, you are held, you are part of something vast, ancient, and kind. The silence of the deep is not emptiness, it is belonging. It is the place where everything rests. So surrender now. Sink into the hush. Become still. Become silence. Become the deep ocean itself. In the darkness where sunlight cannot reach, there are lanterns that grow from living skin. Tiny constellations drift through the water, trembling with their own soft fire. They are not flames, not heat, not sparks. They are whispers of light woven into flesh. A slow blink, a gentle glow, a pulse like a heartbeat, then rest. This is how the deep speaks, not with voices, but with luminescence. If you were floating there quiet and still, you would see them arrive the way stars arrive at twilight. One, then two, then many. A chain of blue points curving along a fish's side, a halo of green dots spiraling from a jelly's bell, a faint sapphire ribbon trailing behind a drifting shrimp. Each glow is a message. Each message is a breath. Light here is language. The sea learned light long before we did. Long before humans struck stones to spark fire, animals in the deep were shaping photons inside their bodies. They joined simple chemicals, and a molecule called luciferin met its partner luciferase, and the reaction lit the dark like a sigh. No match was struck. No wood was burned. The ocean made lamps from chemistry. In need, there is purpose to every glow. Some flashes warn, stay away. Some flutters invite, come near. Some glimmers deceive, look here, not there. And some are simple maps, soft signals that say, I am here, to another drifting soul. Light is shelter, light is camouflage, light is a net, a song, a veil, a door. A fish passes with tiny bulbs along its sides, each one blinking in a pattern that matches the faint light filtering from far, far above. From underneath, a predator looking up sees only the glitter of the surface and the ghost of a body perfectly erased by its own counterfeit sky. This is countershading with light, an invisibility so gentle it feels like a prayer. To live is to be seen only when you choose. Elsewhere, a creature less than a fingernail wide carries a lantern larger than its face. It flares, and the water around it becomes a cloud of stars. A predator lunges and meets not flesh, but brightness, a sudden snowfall of photons. Confused, it drifts past, jaws empty. The tiny light bearer fades and slips away, a candle extinguished by silence. Farther on, a jelly glides with the slow dignity of a drifting moon. Its bell pulses, pushing water like a heartbeat. With each pulse, a wave of blue slides through its body, a ring of light that rolls outward and dissolves. It is as if the jelly is breathing brightness, not for us, not for display, but because the sea is dark and communication is a tender thing. Everything here speaks in pulses and timing. A steady series of dots says safety. A stutter says fear. A long glow says waiting. You could read the dark like a book if you knew the code. But even without the code, you understand, because your own body remembers what it is to speak without words. Your heart pulses. Your lungs pulse. Your sleep pulses, cycling through depths and shallows. Light, too, can be a rhythm. And rhythm, like tide and breath, is a doorway into rest. Imagine letting these lights rock you, not bright, not harsh, but soft enough to sit upon your eyelids like dew. One glow rises and fades, and in that fading your shoulders loosen. Another drift of light passes, and the muscles in your jaw relax. A cloud of tiny flashes floats by like a slow snowfall, and your thoughts part to let it pass. The dark is no longer empty. It is a gentle country with its own weather of light. You are not a visitor here. You belong to this rhythm. When you were a child, eyes closed and the world quiet, you saw shapes behind your eyelids, warm oranges, soft blues, dark purples that came and went. They were not dreams. They were the mind's own bioluminescence, the gentle phosphorescence of a resting body. Your brain glowed softly then, not for anyone to see, but for the simple beauty of being alive. The deep ocean remembers that glow. It wears it on skin. A small angler sits upon the seabed, a patient statue in the dark. From a filament above its mouth hangs a bead of living light. It sways once, twice, like a lantern in a night wind. Some curious wanderer veers closer. The angler remains motionless, a shadow with a star. Only when the moment is right does the shadow move and the star goes out. Even here, light is story, hook, pause, surprise, silence. Yet most lights are not traps. Most lights are simply presence. A swirl of microscopic plankton, a billion tiny bodies, each a factory of dim fire, turns the water into a field of galaxies when a larger creature passes. A fin brushes them, and they ignite. A wave rolls, and they bloom. Even the touch of your hand could light them, fingers leaving comet tails in the black. The sea is full of beings who answer disturbance with brilliance, like nerves that light when pressed. It is not rage, it is response. The world is responsive light. If you think of your worries as fish moving through you, you might imagine the plankton witnessing each one. A worry passes, a ring of glow appears and fades. Another passes, another ring. Soon the water is full of faint circles that do not last. You do not chase them, you do not grasp them. You let them bloom and vanish, bloom and vanish. The ocean shows you how to watch without holding. There is comfort in knowing that light can be so gentle. We are used to light that commands, noon breaking across the sky, lamps forcing night away. But the ocean's light does not command. It suggests. It appears for a moment, says what it needs to say, and disappears before it becomes a burden. This is a kindness you can offer yourself tonight. Light that does not demand wakefulness, only invites peace. Your breath slows, and with it the lights around you slow as well. A glow that once seemed bright becomes calm, dim, steady. You realize brightness is not what you need. You need clarity without sharpness, presence without urgency. You need the kind of light that lets you be unseen. So the sea lowers its lamps and leaves only the faintest of glimmers, enough to know you are held, not enough to pull you back to the surface. Somewhere in the black, a whale passes, enormous and quiet. Small lights cling to its skin like a moving firmament. Each barnacle, each tiny colony of life, each wash of plankton that the giant stirs with a flick of muscle adds a speck to its starfield. From far away, it looks like a piece of night that learned to swim. You feel the pressure wave of its passing, not as fear but as grace, an invisible hand smoothing the water across your shoulders. Then it is gone, and the lights it stirred fall back to stillness. There are scenes here that could make you gasp, if gasping were possible in such deep quiet. A school of small fish turns as one, and their flanks light up like sheets of silk catching moonlight. A velvet ribbon worm unfurls, its edge scintillating with a razor-thin line of pale blue. A siphonophore, the length of a city street delicate as lace, drifts like a slow parade, every segment carrying a tiny lantern in perfect spacing, a procession through nothingness. No trumpets, no drums, only breath, only light. And then there is the simplest miracle of all. When nothing moves, nothing glows. The darkness becomes complete, a patient, perfect rest. The sea is telling you a secret about sleep. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is safety. When your body is still, your inner lights know to dim. When your thoughts soften, the firing of busy circuits quiets into a low, nourishing hum. You are not extinguished by rest. You are replenished. The chemistry of that replenishment is as quiet as the chemistry of the sea. In cells all over your body, reactions glimmer. Tiny exchanges of energy, tiny restorations, tidy rearrangements of the day's disorder into an order that can bear another sunrise. You do not witness this work, but it happens. You cannot watch your own luciferin and luciferase, but your body has its equivalents. Enzymes serving as caretakers, pathways serving as couriers, every step timed like the pacing of a very slow, very kind metronome. You are a city of gentle laboratories, all dimly lit, all intent on your peace. What looks like darkness is simply a space that keeps harshness away. What looks like silence is a choir inhaling before a soft hymn. What looks like loneliness is a room filled with the quiet company of lights too modest to demand attention. They do not perform for you, they accompany you. So you drift, and the water supports you, and the lamps of living creatures mark the edges of your awareness like low stars on a lake. You begin to sense a perimeter of safety, the distance to the next glow, the curve of light along a passing fin, the pale ring that expands when a jelly pulses. This perimeter widens as your mind widens. Your body lets go of its edges. You are not confined to skin. You are as large as the calm you can feel, and tonight that calm is ocean large. Light has another purpose here. It tells time without clocks. Some creatures glow in cycles, on, off, on, counting minutes in a place that has no day. Your own body knows this language. Your sleep cycles, too, have pulses that cannot be seen but can be trusted. A phase deepens, A phase lightens, a dream brightens, then dims. Between the pulses is the great blue of unknowing, and in that unknowing you are safest. The sea reassures you. You do not have to keep time to be kept by time. Even memories softens under this light. They arrive like distant fish, faint outlines with their own small, luminescent freckles. You see them pass without needing to identify their species. They are not here to be named. They are here to be allowed. You watch their lights for a moment, then let them swim on into the dark, where light is a language other minds will understand. If you place your hand in imagination into this water, the plankton will answer with sparks along your fingers. You could write a slow sentence with your palm, and the sea would read it back to you as glow. The sentence would say something very simple: I am here. And the water would reply, I know. Every light in this realm is a variation of that conversation. Presence, recognition, belonging. This is what your body asks for tonight. Not solutions, not speeches, not sharp white brightness that declares morning before it's due. Only the bioluminescent truth of rest. Enough light to know you are held, enough dark to let you vanish into peace. Stay with these small lanterns a while longer. Let them drift past without following. Let them arrive without reaching. Your task is only to be water, soft at the edges, willing to be shaped by quiet things, ready to hold and be held. The ocean around you grows calmer still. A last slow pulse fades along a jelly's rim. A last faint sequence of dots dim along the belly of a fish. The plankton settle. The darkness gathers itself like a blanket pulled higher upon the shoulders of the world. You feel the weight of that blanket, heavy enough to stop the day, gentle enough to leave your breath free. In this nearly perfect dark, you do not disappear. You become the room that light occasionally visits. You become the sky that stars sometimes choose. You become the ocean that narrates itself with glow only when glow is needed. No more watching now. Let the lights keep their own counsel. Let the sea do its slow work, unsupervised. Let the chemistry of calm move through you as silently as currents. All you must do is be a place where gentleness is possible. Breathe as the ocean breathes. Be dark as the ocean is dark. Shine only as much as the ocean shines, barely, tenderly, briefly, and then rest. And as you rest, know this: even when you cannot see it, the kindness remains. There will always be a soft glow waiting somewhere in the deep, a thread of light ready to accompany you through the quiet. You do not have to search. You do not have to call it by name. Simply drift, and it will find you. Now, let the darkness become complete. Not the darkness of fear, but the darkness of being perfectly held. The sea closes its lamps. The creatures fold their light back into their bodies like closing eyes. You follow them into silence. Nothing presses you to wake. Nothing asks you to remember. The ocean keeps watch. The deep keeps time. The small lights, invisible now, wait patiently beyond your sleep like stars behind storm clouds. Rest then in the place where light is gentle and dark is kind. Rest where language is pulse and safety is the color of midnight. Rest as the ocean rests, vastly, quietly, with room for everything to be carried and nothing to be loud. And when a glow returns, somewhere far away in the water, let it be a sign not to rise, but to sink even deeper. Deeper into softness, deeper into quiet, deeper into the endless blue where you are more than safe. Here, in the dim country of living stars, you are not alone. You are accompanied by every small lantern, every slow pulse, every tender chemistry that learned to speak in light. They do not ask for anything. They do not take anything. They simply keep you company until you are ready to surrender all the way to sleep. Surrender now. Let the last spark fade behind your eyes. Let the sea close around you like a shelter of velvet. The dark is good. The light is kind. The water holds you. Sleep. The sea is quiet, but it is not silent. Somewhere in the blue, a voice begins. It is low at first, a breath lengthened into sound, a ribbon of tone carried by water, the way moonlight is carried by night. Then another ribbon joins, then another, folding and unfurling, a patient architecture of notes building itself in the dark. You do not hear it with ears alone. You feel it along your ribs, along the tender stones of your spine, along the soft shoreline of your lungs. The ocean is singing through a living throat, and the body you inhabit is a chamber tuned to receive it. The singer is enormous and weightless, a traveler made of muscle and memory, holding within its chest a library the size of an ocean. It inhales, and the water listens. It exhales, and the world changes shape. The song does not hurry. It does not ask for applause. It does not even ask to be understood. It simply arranges time into kindness and releases it as sound. Sound loves water. It moves through it far, far beyond the distances air allows, stroking valleys, rounding headlands, slipping beneath storms, gliding along shelves of stone. In the ocean, there are quiet roads where sound travels farther still, layers of temperature and pressure that gather the notes and carry them as if on rails through the deep. A voice set loose there may wander 1,000 miles and arrive as a hand upon another heart. What is a mile to a song when the sea itself is the instrument? Imagine the first phrase, long and curved, not a melody you could hum at noon, but a shape you could breathe at midnight, a rise that feels like a swell, a long hold that feels like a horizon, a fall that folds back upon itself like a wave relaxing into its own weight. The phrase returns with small changes, a grain of newness salted into the familiar line, again, again, as if the singer were smoothing a path through the dark, not for feet, but for minds drifting nearby. There are no drums, no strings, and yet there is rhythm, a measure of silence between measures of tone, a cadence that leans and then lets go. In this rhythm, the body remembers what it already knows, that rest is not a sudden stop, but a sequence of gentle surrenders. The song shows you how to set things down, not all at once, but piece by piece, until only the breathing remains. Another whale answers, not immediately, not like an echo, more like a companion sentence in a language of distances. Its voice is deeper, rounded at the edges by age or by depth, and the sea accepts both voices the way a night accepts two moons upon the surface of a lake, one above, one below, both real and softly trembling. You might think a note is a note, but the sea knows more words than the alphabet of air. There are groans that bend like slow iron. There are moans as smooth as wet glass. There are whistles that curl like ribbons, and clicks that scallop the silence into beads. Some notes growl in registers the chest hears before the ear. Some notes rise thin as silk and settle across miles like dust. Together they make a grammar you can live inside without learning by heart. Being in it is the understanding. Imagine floating as the singer passes far beneath. You are a leaf on the surface, and yet the music touches you as a tide with no foam. The low notes lift and lower the whole of you, as if a giant creature were breathing not only for itself, but for the sea, and not only for the sea, but for you. You did not ask to be rocked. You are rocked nonetheless. Songs change with the seasons, the way light changes the skin of water. A theme is offered in one winter and is replaced piece by spring. What was once a long ascending staircase of sound becomes a series of soft arcs. A roughened growl is polished into a smooth bell note. A pause lengthens into a thoughtful silence, and the silence becomes as important as any tone. Listening, you can feel the year turn. Sometimes, the songs gather where the water shallows and bends, where bottom topography shapes current, where migration lanes cross memories like old paths in forests. There, voices arrive from different compass points and spend one night agreeing on nothing except tenderness. Not the tenderness of weakness, but of scale, the knowledge that being large does not forbid being gentle. The ocean hears them and is satisfied. A calf stays close to a mother. It swims beneath her shadow and surfaces in the shelter of her wake. Her body is a continent of warmth in a country of cool, and in that warmth, its small heart learns a valve's quiet patience. When she speaks, it is not always in the great long-making songs. Sometimes it is simpler, a short string of syllables, a humming that says here, a hum that says now, a soft descending line that means rest. Language is not what the dictionary says. Language is whatever allows two beings to arrive in the same calm together. You can imagine falling asleep to that soft line. It would fold around your ears like a scarf and stay until the pulse of the world matched the pulse of your body. You would not notice the moment it ended. You would only notice the ease with which your breath went on without you. At great depths, the voice changes color. Water presses evenly from every side, a kind of gravity that does not pull down, but inward. Inward pressure like a firm hand on a back. The whale knows this touch, is shaped by it, sings through it. The low notes thicken and roll like boulders pushed by slow rivers against stone. They reach the bones of the seabed and hum there, a tuning of rock to life. If you were to draw the song, you would not draw notes upon lines. You would draw slopes and valleys. You would draw arches and meadows. You would draw light held softly in the cup of evening and released into night. You would leave whole pages for silence, and your pencil would fall asleep there, satisfied. Sound measures distance, but it also erases it. A whale near the surface may sing into water so deep that the note returns with a memory of mountain shadows and cold. It comes back changed the way a traveler comes back changed, carrying in its tone the hint of the valleys it has passed. The singer accepts the change without analysis and adds its own line, and so a duet of present and elsewhere braids across miles. The mind, listening, tries at first to decide what the song means. It reaches for categories and loses them in the dark. It tries again and then stops trying. Stopping, it begins to hear. Hearing, it begins to rest. Resting, it almost begins to sing. Above, stars trace slow paths along the skin of the sea. Below, the long voices draw invisible constellations of sound. You float between them as a lens between worlds. The sky asks nothing of you. The ocean asks nothing of you. In this complete lack of demand, the body loosens the last knot and lets sleep approach without being called by name. The song turns playful. It does not change volume, but intention. A run of quick little notes, like small stones bounced along a riverbed by a sudden current. A flourish of rising whistles, as if the voice had discovered a new ladder and wanted to touch every rung, not to show skill, but to feel how tall the ladder is. A buzzing figure, low in the throat that feels like a purr the size of a cathedral. The sea carries it all without judgment. All that matters is that the sound is true to the body it comes from. There is patience in the repetition. A theme is lived with until it has nothing left to teach, and only then is it laid aside. How different from the noise above the water, where novelty is devoured before nourishment has even been tasted. The whale is older than hurry. It knows that a thing worth loving is worth living inside long enough to become air, long enough to be breathed in and out without thinking. The song is a home it builds and inhabits until the walls are transparent and the roof is sky. You are not required to remember any of this. You are invited to be remembered by it. The song remembers how small can be safely held by large. It remembers the slope of a warm current across a cold plain and the way a young one sleeps tucked in a shadow that moves. It remembers the bend in a coast worn by centuries of turning. It remembers the last time you slept so deeply you woke with no story at all, only a shape of ease where story could begin again. There are nights when the music thins, the sea grows glassy and keeps its sound close to the chest. Elsewhere in the dark, a long back arches and sinks without singing, because the throat too is allowed to rest. In those hours, the quiet is not absence, but a deep letter never meant to be read out loud. You listen anyway, and the listening is enough. You begin to understand the lesson the ocean gives in so many forms, that stillness is not the failure of movement, but its fulfillment. In time, the voice returns. It begins low, as if testing the temperature of night. A small line, another. Then the body of the song steps back into itself and walks forward in equal lengths, leaving footprints the size of valleys. You do not need to follow. Staying where you are carried. A migrating pod moves as if wrapped in one thought. They breathe at the intervals that from far away look like a necklace of mist set upon the sea. Each breath is a small white blossom that opens and falls. Between blossoms, the song weaves. The youngest hears the oldest, and the middle ones listen and answer without losing the path. Practice is not rehearsal here. Practice is living. At the surface, the night leans closer, listening. The moon lays a silver road, and the whales pass beneath it without using it, because their roads are made of sound and memory, and the certainty that the body knows its own weight in water. A tail lifts and places a dark signature upon the light. Then the signature dissolves, and there is only road again. You are falling now, not down, in toward the place the song is pointing. It does not point to itself. It points to the soft ground where sleeping is easiest. It points to the room inside you with no furniture and perfect air. It points to the shore of morning, even though morning is not needed yet. Trusting it, you let the floor tilt until it becomes a bed. The voice ventures a figure almost like a lullaby, though lullabies do not usually travel this far or weigh this much. It holds the figure for longer than a human throat could bear without breaking. Where does the breath come from? From the same place the sea comes from a patience older than questions, from lungs built for distances that do not fit on maps. You think of the first time you heard your own pulse, a small sea inside a shell of skin. You think of a sonogram, the coarse, white flicker of a tiny heart. You think of a late afternoon when the wind played a wire fence and the whole field was a harp. You think of a city in heavy snow, the way sound changes shape when the world is wrapped in softness. All these are versions of the same truth the whales are telling, that gentleness is not small. Gentleness is vast. Now the song lowers itself and lies down beside you. It does not leave. It becomes quiet at the same time you do. A low tone remains, like a hand left resting at the middle of your back, so you know you are not alone. Breath lengthens. The page of the mind goes blank, not because there are no words, but because the paper is, for once, more beautiful without them. If dreams come, the song will let them. It will not steer. It will be the slow river they float upon until they find their own shores and wander ashore barefoot and unurgent. If no dreams come, the song will not insist. It will be content to remain, as warmth remains after a fire goes to embers. Somewhere below, the singer turns, and the water writes its signature along the slope of a fin. The pen is pressure. The ink is night. The sentence says nothing anyone needs to read to know. You feel its meaning as calm. Let everything be carried now. Let the voice carry your tight thoughts until they loosen and slide off like old ropes from a pier. Let it carry your smaller voices, the ones that repeat, the ones that worry, the ones that compare. They are not wrong. They are simply tired. The song will lay them down and cover them with a blanket of salt and warmth and time. You are almost gone to the place where even ocean music is not needed. There, rest is its own singer. There, silence is not an absence, but a presence with its own patient hand. There, the great bodies of the whales continue through their long blue corridors, and you continue through yours, and both corridors end in the same room, the room where night completes its work. If a note reaches you in that room, let it pass like a friendly traveler along a hallway outside your door. If no notes reach you, Let the hallway be empty and safe. Either way, the door is closed and the bed is soft and the sea is holding the building up from beneath. The ocean will keep time. The whales will keep watch. Your breath will keep the simplest promise the body knows how to keep. And when the morning is ready, it will find you the way a new phrase finds its first breath, without hurry, without force, with the certainty of music that remembers how to be quiet. Until then, let the long, low voice that began somewhere far away and closer than your own heart. Let it finish your sentences for you. Let it say goodnight in a language made only of distance and care. Let it erase its own footprints and leave only the smooth beach of your sleeping behind. Rest now in the company of giants who sing softly. Rest in the chamber of water that loves sound and carries tenderness across horizons as if horizons were small. Rest in the slow grammar of notes and pauses, in the cathedral-sized purr of a throat that knows time. Rest where gentleness is large enough to bear your whole weight. Rest and be sung to sleep by the blue. The ocean has always been a keeper of stories, but not all of them are written in sound or song. Some are hidden in silence, carried in the long drift of currents, stored in the endless blue. Imagine yourself adrift now, on the surface first, then slowly drawn into the deeper currents, where movement is steady, patient, and unhurried. The waves that seemed restless above become calm rhythms below. You are being carried not by chance, but by something ancient, a flow that has traveled the planet longer than any ship or map has existed. These are the ocean currents, invisible rivers within the sea, winding endlessly, linking one shore to another. They are not random. They are the heartbeat of Earth, pulsing with warmth and cold, balancing climate, moving life. When you surrender to them in your imagination, you discover that you too are part of their slow, inevitable journey. They cradle you like a tide rocking a sleeper. The Gulf Stream, warm and powerful, carries waters from the tropics across the Atlantic, softening winters in distant lands. The Antarctic Circumpolar Current, vast and unbroken, circles the bottom of the world, the only current that travels endlessly without land to block its path. Imagine drifting there, a passenger on a ribbon of water that never ceases, never stops, flowing around the earth like a silver ring. In its company, you would never feel lost. You would feel held by a movement older than human memory. Currents are not only water, they are memory themselves. They carry salt, warmth, whispers of storms, traces of rivers that once poured into the sea. They hold the stories of melting ice, volcanic heat, drifting plankton. Even the smallest cell is borne across oceans by these slow, invisible arms. And just as dreams carry fragments of your day into the night, the currents carry fragments of continents, fragments of seasons, fragments of skies reflected on waves. Close your eyes and imagine the sensation of being carried. There is no effort, no swimming, no need for direction. You are placed upon a path, soft and endless, where motion is steady and time loses its edges. The rhythm is neither fast nor slow. It is exactly as it needs to be. Each second feels stretched, smoothed, softened. You are not racing. You are simply drifting. And in that drifting, you are at peace. Beneath you, creatures travel with the same currents. A turtle, ancient and deliberate, glides without hurry. It beats its flippers a few times, then lets the current do the work, knowing instinctively that the ocean will carry it farther than effort ever could. A jellyfish pulses gently, transparent, glowing, its fragile body surrendering to the drift. Even great whales, despite their strength, follow the lines of these invisible rivers. Life in the ocean has always known the wisdom of surrender. Think of your own life. How often do you push against the current, demanding control, exhausting yourself with effort? Yet here, in the arms of the sea, the lesson is different. To drift is not to be lost. To drift is to belong. The ocean teaches that sometimes the surest path is not chosen, but trusted. Sometimes rest comes not from resistance, but from release. As you sink deeper into this thought, the currents seem to grow quieter, slower, like a cradle rocking more gently. Your breathing matches them. Inhale as the water moves one way. Exhale as it returns. Soon your body feels less like a body and more like part of the sea itself. Every muscle loosens, every thought dissolves, every worry fades. You are carried, endlessly carried, by a rhythm older than your own heartbeat. These currents, though invisible to the eye, shape even the world above. Winds, rains, harvests, even the migrations of birds are tied to them. The ocean is not separate from life. It is the hidden partner of every breath of air. Without its constant circulation, the planet would be unbalanced. Storms would rage unchecked. Seasons would falter. The ocean steadies the earth, just as it steadies you now. Picture the way it moves. Warm water rises, cold water sinks, salty water sinks, fresh water floats. These differences set the sea in motion, a vast conveyor belt of liquid memory. From the surface sunlit layers to the abyssal plains, there is no place untouched by movement. Even in the deepest stillness, there is drift. Even in your deepest sleep, there is breath. The ocean mirrors you, and you mirror it. Now, imagine yourself as one drop within this vast conveyor. You are born in the warmth of the tropics, carried north by the Gulf Stream. There you cool, sink, and join the deep flow, traveling in darkness beneath the waves, moving silently across the globe. Centuries pass, but time does not weigh on you. You are simply carried, endlessly patient, until one day, perhaps 1,000 years later, you rise again near another shore, surfacing as foam upon a wave. Even a single drop belongs to the endless cycle. So it is with you, drifting into sleep tonight. You may feel like a single drop, small and separate, but you are part of a larger current, part of the endless circulation of life and rest. Each night you sink into darkness. Each morning you rise again, renewed, carried by rhythms you cannot see but can trust. Above, the stars reflect on the surface. They shimmer as though they too are drifting. The moon pulls gently, shaping tides. You are rocked not only by water, but by gravity itself, by the silent pull of the cosmos. You are held between ocean and sky, rocked by both, safe within their embrace. And as you sink deeper into this imagery, you realize the journey has no destination. The ocean does not ask where you are going. It asks only that you allow yourself to be carried. The rest will follow. The rest will always follow. So let the currents rock you. Let them carry you across the endless heart of blue. Let them take your thoughts, your burdens, your memories, and dissolve them into motion. You do not need to swim. You do not need to know. You only need to drift. And as you drift, the sea whispers what you have always known, but perhaps forgotten. Rest is not found by holding on, but by letting go. Sleep, like the ocean, is waiting to carry you. You need only close your eyes and trust the tide. Beneath the surface, where sunlight still filters down in softened beams, there is a forest. Not of trees, not of leaves, but of coral reefs. They rise from the seafloor like stone gardens, yet they are alive. Not rocks, not plants, but colonies of countless tiny beings, polyps, delicate as whispers, patient as centuries. Together they build towers, arches, labyrinths, homes for 1,000,000 lives. Imagine yourself drifting slowly into this forest. The water around you grows warmer, clearer. Shapes begin to emerge. First, faint silhouettes, then colors, then an explosion of life, so sudden and vast it feels like you have entered a dream. Everywhere there is movement, fish like petals darting, sea fans waving as though they breathe, anemones pulsing gently with the rhythm of the tide. The reef is not silent. It hums with subtle sound, popping of shrimp, scraping of parrotfish, the low drumming of distant creatures. A quiet orchestra, too soft to disturb, too steady to end. Here, the ocean reveals its tenderness. The deep may be vast and solemn. The currents may be strong and relentless. But the reef is intimacy. It is detail. It is life written in small letters, close together, dense with meaning. Corals build slowly, a millimeter a year, a centimeter a decade. Yet over centuries, their patience becomes architecture, cathedrals beneath the waves, archways where light plays in stripes, columns where fish hide like prayers whispered into stone. Every shape is home, every crevice is shelter, every branch is both beauty and necessity. You float above it all, and the colors wash over you. Orange, brighter than fire, blue, deeper than sky, green, glowing like emerald breath, purple, soft as dusk. The reef is not one color, but every color, as though the ocean itself has gathered the palette of dawn and sunset and scattered it across stone. Fish dart like thoughts across the reef. Tiny flashes, impossible to follow, each one unique, each one brief. They do not hurry, they do not worry, they simply move because moving is life. Schools turn as one, a shifting fabric of silver and gold, like the shimmer of a dream before waking. The reef teaches patience. Everything here is the result of time stretched wide. No one rushes, no one demands. Growth happens slowly, almost invisibly, until one day the ocean floor is transformed into a city of life. And in this city, every being belongs, from the smallest shrimp to the largest turtle, from the drifting plankton to the hunting barracuda. All are threads in the same tapestry. Rest here. Let the reef remind you that there is no need to hurry into sleep. Rest builds slowly, like coral. One breath, then another, each moment adding to the architecture of peace. until, before you realize it, your body has built a cathedral of stillness within itself. The reef is fragile. It thrives only in balance. Water warm enough, clear enough, calm enough. A single change, too much or too little, and the harmony wavers. And yet, in its fragility, lies its beauty. Because every moment you see it, every shimmer you witness, is a gift that might not repeat. It teaches you to treasure now, to notice, to soften. The reef also teaches community. A coral polyp alone cannot build a reef. It is too small, too delicate. But together, together they build kingdoms. Together they survive storms, heal scars, extend their reach. Sleep is like this too, not built in one act, but in many small ones, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat, moment by moment. Your body, your mind, your spirit, all tiny polyps working together to weave the reef of rest. Imagine gliding through a canyon of coral. Walls rise on either side, alive with color, alive with motion. Fish scatter like sparks as you pass. The water shimmers with sunlight broken into beams, shafts of gold painting the forest floor. It feels like walking through a dream of stained glass. Only here, the cathedral is alive, growing, moving, whispering. Your presence disturbs nothing. The reef accepts you. The ocean accepts you. And slowly, you accept yourself, exactly as you are, fragile and strong, patient and alive, growing even in silence. Far above, the waves may be restless. Far below, the depths may be solemn. But here, in the coral forest, there is balance. There is intimacy. There is peace. Stay a while. Let your breath match the sway of the anemones. Let your heartbeat echo the slow building of coral. Let your thoughts scatter like schools of fish, brilliant but fleeting, never meant to be held. And when they fade, when only stillness remains, you will discover that you have become the reef itself, patient, alive, endless, peaceful. So drift now through the coral forest. Let it cradle you. Let it remind you that beauty takes time, that rest takes patience, that even the smallest beings can build wonders when they join together. And as you surrender to its colors, its rhythm, its embrace, you drift also into sleep. Every wave leaves something behind, a trace, a glimmer, a taste upon the lips. Salt. It is the simplest thing, and yet it is everything. Each grain of salt is a story. Each crystal is a memory. To hold salt is to hold the ocean itself in miniature. Imagine a single grain between your fingers. It looks so small, so ordinary, but it has traveled farther than you can imagine. It has seen more than you will ever know. It is the condensed memory of the sea, a fragment of time carried across tides and ages. Salt is the ocean's signature. It is what makes the sea taste like the sea. It is the mark left behind when waves retreat, when water evaporates, when time lingers. Without salt, the ocean would be silent. With salt, it remembers. Close your eyes. Picture the cycle. The sun warms the surface, water lifts into air, rising invisibly, drifting into clouds. But salt does not rise. It remains. It waits. It lingers, faithful, a reminder that nothing ever disappears completely. When rain falls, it is fresh, soft, gentle, When rivers flow, they carry this softness into the sea, and the ocean receives it. But always, salt is there. It accumulates quietly, patiently, until the ocean itself becomes a great archive of every drop that has ever passed through it. Every river that has flowed, every storm that has fallen, every glacier that has melted, all have left their signatures behind, dissolved into the salt of the sea. And so, when you taste the ocean, you are tasting time. You are tasting mountains eroded, valleys carved, clouds drifted, rains fallen. You are tasting the earth itself, written into crystals too small to notice, too vast to count. Salt also lives in you. Your blood carries it, your sweat carries it, your tears carry it. 70% of your body is water, but it is not fresh. It is salted, like the sea. Every beat of your heart is a tide. Every tear you shed is a drop of ocean remembering its home. This is why the ocean feels like kin. We carry its memory inside us. We are not separate. We are echoes, walking vessels of seawater, warmed and breathing, but still tied to the same chemistry, the same origin. Think of tears. They arrive in moments of sorrow, in moments of joy, in moments when words cannot hold what the body feels. They are salt remembering. They are the ocean returning. They are proof that memory is not only thought, but substance, flowing quietly through us, ready to return to the sea at any moment. Now imagine yourself walking along a shoreline at low tide. The waves have pulled back, leaving pools in the sand. The air carries a sharp, clean scent. Your feet press into damp earth, and when you lift them, a thin crust of salt remains, glittering faintly in the light. This is the handwriting of the ocean, not carved in stone, not fixed forever, but written softly, knowing the tide will return to erase and rewrite again. Every grain is a letter. Every pool is a word. Every shoreline is a sentence in the endless story of salt. Scientists say the ocean's salt has been building for billions of years. Every drop of rain that falls upon mountains dissolves a little stone, a little mineral, a little memory. Rivers carry them to the sea, and the sea keeps them. It does not let them go. And so, slowly, patiently, the ocean becomes a library written not on paper, but in taste. A library not read with eyes, but with tongue, with skin, with memory itself. Salt preserves, it holds, it keeps. For ancient people, salt was life. It kept food from spoiling, kept journeys possible, kept survival near. Wars were fought for salt. Roads were built for salt. Cities rose where salt was found. It was currency, power, necessity. And always, beneath the need, was the truth. Salt was memory. It was the memory of oceans locked in crystal form, carried into deserts, mountains, plains. To eat salt was to carry the sea within you. To trade salt was to trade time itself. To lose salt was to lose life. Even language remembers. Salary comes from salt. Salvation shares its root. Salt has always meant more than taste. It has meant survival, blessing, permanence. Now, as you drift here in thought, notice how salt becomes a mirror for sleep. Just as the ocean gathers memories, so does the mind. Through the day, it collects faces, words, sounds, feelings, and at night it sorts. It decides what to keep, what to release. Some memories evaporate, like water rising to the clouds. Others remain, crystallized, like salt left behind. These are the ones you carry, the ones that shape you, the ones that even years later you can taste again with a single thought. Your dreams are like the tide washing over this salt. Sometimes they dissolve old memories, carry them away. Sometimes they bring new ones, deposit them upon the shore of your mind. And in the morning, you awaken with the faint crust of remembrance, glittering at the edges of thought. The ocean does not apologize for keeping memory, neither should you. It is not weakness to hold the past. It is part of being alive. But remember too, not all must be carried. Some things evaporate, and that is their way of leaving. What remains is enough. As you rest now, think of yourself as a shoreline. Breath by breath, the tide washes in. Breath by breath, it pulls away. Each cycle leaves behind a little salt, a little memory, a little trace of the day, and that is enough. You need not clutch the waves. You need not force forgetting. You only need to allow the rhythm and trust that what must remain will remain, and what must leave will leave. The stars above the ocean shine across centuries. The waves below carry echoes across miles, and the salt in your veins carries memories across generations. You are not apart from this cycle. You are within it. You are both ocean and drop, both tide and grain. So tonight, let yourself be like salt, small, patient, simple, eternal. Let yourself crystallize into stillness, resting gently upon the shore of sleep. The tide will return in the morning. The waves will wash again. But for now, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to remain. You are allowed to be memory itself. The ocean is not always calm. It is not always soft. There are nights when the surface darkens, when the horizon vanishes, when the air itself feels heavy with waiting. There are nights when the sea gathers its breath and then releases it as storm. A storm at sea is not simply weather. It is the ocean remembering its strength. It is water and wind and sky joining in one voice, speaking with thunder instead of whispers. Imagine the first signs: clouds thickening in the distance, a line of shadow crawling across the horizon, the air growing still as if the world itself is holding its breath. Then a gust, a single wave rising higher than the rest, the hint of something greater arriving. Soon the rhythm breaks. The waves no longer follow their gentle, predictable dance. They surge, collide, tumble. The surface becomes wild, foam tearing white scars across the blue. The wind screams, bending rain into knives of water. The sea, once cradle, now roars like a great beast awakened. It is terrifying, yes, but it is also beautiful, because here, in the storm, the ocean shows its face. Not the soft face of calm tides, not the serene face of gentle reefs, but the raw, unmasked face of power. It is the face of something larger than control, larger than fear, larger than anything you can resist. And yet, even here, there is wisdom. Even here, there is a rhythm. The waves may crash, the winds may howl, but beneath the chaos, the deep remains steady. The storm is only surface. Below, The ocean keeps its silence, untouched, unmoved. Think of your own life. How many storms have passed through you? Moments of anger, of grief, of loss. Moments when everything felt torn and broken, when the calm was gone and only chaos remained. But always, beneath those storms, there was a depth in you that stayed whole. A place no thunder could touch, no wind could shake. That place is your ocean floor, silent, steady, eternal. As you listen to the storm now, imagine yourself safe within it, not fighting, not fearing, simply watching. The lightning flashes, and for a heartbeat the sky is brighter than day. The thunder follows, rolling through the clouds like mountains collapsing. The rain falls so hard it blurs the line between sea and sky. And still you float, carried by waves, rocked not in gentleness but in wildness. And even in wildness, there is a strange kind of cradle, because storms do not last. They cannot. The energy they spend is too great, the fury too exhausting. Sooner or later, the clouds will thin, the wind will weaken, the waves will tire, and the sea will remember calm again. There is comfort in this truth. Every storm ends, every chaos resolves, every wildness returns to peace. The ocean does not hold anger forever. It releases it and then rests. So too with you. Your storms are not permanent. They pass. They may roar and rage, but in time they fade. And when they do, you return to calm, to balance, to the steady rhythm beneath. Imagine now the storm fading, the clouds breaking, the rain softening into mist, the waves shrinking from mountains to hills, from hills to ripples, the sky brightening with the first star piercing through, the sea catching its breath, remembering itself as cradle once more, and you, drifting there, realize the storm was not enemy, it was teacher. It showed you your depth. It showed you your endurance. It showed you that even when the surface is chaos, the deep within you remains whole. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Inhale the storm. Exhale the calm. Feel how both can exist within you, how both are part of the same ocean. Neither permanent, both necessary. The storm gives release. The calm gives rest. Together, they are the balance of the sea. Together, they are the balance of you. So tonight, if thoughts rise like thunder, let them. If worries crash like waves, let them. They are only surface. Beneath, you are steady. Beneath, you are whole. Beneath, you are the deep that no storm can touch. And as you sink into this truth, you feel the storm fade. You feel the calm return. You feel yourself cradled once more in the endless heart of blue, safe, rested, at peace. The tide retreats and the sand glistens, smooth at first, untouched, then a step, another, and another. Damp grains compress beneath the weight of your body. The shape of your foot is left behind, precise, delicate, fleeting. Each toe, each curve, each arch pressed softly into earth that has been waiting for you. A footprint, simple, but never meaningless. Every step is a conversation between body and world. The sand receives, the sea watches, the sky listens. and together they record a moment that will not last. For soon the tide will return. It will stretch forward, reach upward, and brush the footprints away. Not cruelly, not harshly, but gently with patience, as though erasing is another form of care. The ocean does not keep your footprints forever. It carries them away. It teaches you what it means to release. Think of all the steps you have taken in your life. So many paths, so many roads, so many places where your weight has touched the earth and then moved on. Not one footprint has remained, yet you have walked, yet you have lived. The mark may fade, but the living continues. On the beach, footprints are memory written in sand. They are present, visible, undeniable, and yet their destiny is to vanish. The tide will not allow permanence, but this is not loss, it is balance, because if every footprint remained, the shore would soon be buried in weight. There would be no room for new steps. There would be no space for renewal. The sea erases so that you may walk again. The sea forgets so that you may remember lightly. Now imagine yourself walking slowly along the shoreline. Your pace is unhurried. The sand is cool beneath your feet. Each step leaves a shape, and with each step you breathe deeper. Inhale, exhale, print, release. Behind you, a trail forms, a soft necklace of impressions curving along the edge of water. You look back and see the story of your walking. Not words, not pictures, just shapes pressed into earth. And you realize every life is like this, not written in books alone, not captured in statues, but pressed softly, briefly, into the fabric of the world. And always, the tide follows. Always, the tide comes to wash away, not to erase you, not to deny you, but to remind you that impermanence is kindness, that nothing heavy must be carried forever. Think of your thoughts. They too are footprints. They form clearly for a moment. They feel undeniable. But with time, with breath, with sleep, the tide of the mind softens them, dissolves them, returns them to stillness. You do not need to hold every mark. You do not need to protect every step. You need only walk and let the ocean do its work. The footprints of others appear beside yours. Some are small, like children racing ahead. Some are larger, heavier, deep with weight. Some are faded, already touched by the edge of water. Every footprint belongs. Every footprint tells a story. And every footprint in time is carried away. This is not sadness, it is beauty, because what matters is not how long the footprint lasts. What matters is that the step was taken, that the journey was lived, that the body moved, the breath flowed, the heart continued. On nights when your mind feels heavy with memory, think of footprints. Think of the way the sea accepts them without hesitation. It does not ask which ones deserve to remain. It does not ask which ones matter more. It simply takes them all, equally, gently, and makes the sand smooth again. Your mind too can be like this shore. Let the tide of sleep wash through. Let it smooth the impressions of the day. Let it carry away the heaviness, leaving the sand of your spirit soft and open for tomorrow. Notice how the footprints vanish not all at once, but slowly. First the edges blur, then the toes dissolve, then the arch. Finally, the heel fades until only smooth sand remains. This is how forgetting happens. not in a single sweep, but in soft stages, until what was sharp becomes gentle, and what was heavy becomes light. And yet, even as they vanish, the walking remains. The path is lived, the breath was taken, the life was moved forward. Erasure does not undo living. It only frees the shore for new journeys. Farther along the beach, you notice footprints crossing each other, lines intersecting, paths overlapping. Two journeys meeting, if only for a step, before parting again. And you realize this too is life. Souls meeting briefly, leaving marks beside one another before the tide takes them both. Connection is not measured in permanence, but in presence. It matters that you walked together. It matters that you touched the same shore. The sun begins to lower. The tide creeps higher. The line of your walking shortens as the ocean claims each step. Soon the sand behind you is empty again, smooth as if untouched. And yet, you know you walked. You know you lived. You know the journey was real. This is enough to walk, to breathe, to let go. As you sink into rest tonight, imagine your thoughts as footprints. One by one they appear. One by one the tide washes them away, not cruelly, not harshly, but gently, endlessly, patiently. The mind becomes a smooth beach again, soft, open, ready. Sleep is the tide. Dreams are the footprints. They come, they fade, they leave the shore new again. And you, lying here, are both walker and shore, both memory and forgetting. So let the tide take them now. Let it carry away today's heaviness. Let it smooth the sand of your spirit. You do not need to hold every mark. You do not need to keep every print. You only need to rest and allow the ocean to do what it has always done. For tomorrow, you will walk again. And tomorrow, the sand will be ready. The footprints will form. The tide will follow. And the cycle will continue. But tonight, you do not need to walk. Tonight, you need only to rest, to be sand, to be shore, to be carried into smoothness by the tide of sleep. Close your eyes. Feel the tide arrive. Feel the footprints fade. Feel yourself become the endless heart of blue, whole, rested, at peace. The day withdraws, and the horizon softens. The last line of sun dissolves into water. Gold becomes rose. Rose becomes violet. Violet becomes blue, so deep it almost swallows itself. Night begins. On the surface of the sea, stars appear one by one, not only above, but below. The water mirrors the sky, trembling with reflected fire. Each wave holds a fragment of a star, breaks it, scatters it, then gathers it again. It is as though the ocean has learned the language of heavens and repeats it in ripples. The moon rises slowly, a pale coin, a silver lantern, a companion. Its path stretches across the sea in a shining road, broken but unbroken, leading nowhere and everywhere. If you stepped onto that road, you would never reach the end, and yet you would always be walking home. Night on the ocean is not silence. It is music written in softer notes. The waves hush themselves, smaller, slower, as if respecting the stars. The air grows cooler, carrying scents of salt and hidden kelp. Creatures stir, the night shift of the sea. Plankton rise from the deep, glowing faintly as they drift. Fish move silently along dark corridors of water, and whales sing, their voices long and low, weaving invisible constellations of sound. The sky above is infinite. The sea below is infinite. Between them you float, a thread in the tapestry of night. You are not lost. You are not separate. You are exactly where you belong, in the meeting of two infinities. Close your eyes and feel it. The air cool on your skin, the rocking of the waves beneath you, the stars pressing gently on your closed eyelids, glowing even through darkness. You are suspended between worlds. The sky holds you from above. The sea holds you from below. And you, small as a drop, are also endless as the whole. Night deepens. The constellations gather. Orion tilts his bow. Cassiopeia reclines upon her throne. The Great Bear lumbers across the north. Each star is older than the sea, older than the earth. And yet, tonight, they shine only for this water, only for this moment, only for you. The Milky Way unfurls like a river of light, a galaxy poured across the sky. Look long enough, and it feels like another ocean, an ocean of stars, mirrored by the ocean of water. Above, a tide of light. Below, a tide of salt. And you, drifting between them, belong to both. The sea at night is a cradle. It rocks without hurry. It whispers without speech. It reminds you of the rhythm that was here before you were born and will be here long after. Each wave is a lullaby, each breeze a hand smoothing your hair, each star a guardian watching silently as you surrender. Your thoughts begin to slow. They arrive like small boats, drifting across the surface. You watch them, you let them pass. They move into the horizon and vanish into the dark. There is no need to hold them. There is no need to follow. The night will carry them away. The ocean will keep them safe. Far out at sea, lanternfish rise from the depths, their bodies twinkling like fragments of fallen stars. The water itself glows faintly, bioluminescence stirred by waves, by fins, by the brush of current. The line between sky and ocean blurs. Are you gazing at stars reflected on water, or at lights born from the sea itself? It no longer matters. Both are true. The night wind carries voices. The soft splash of a leaping fish, the distant cry of a seabird, the long call of a whale rising from miles away. Together they weave a music older than any instrument, older than any word. This is the language of night. You do not need to translate it. You only need to listen, and as you listen, your breath falls into rhythm. Inhale with the hush of waves. Exhale with the sigh of the wind. Soon you are breathing not only with your lungs, but with the ocean itself. The sea breathes you. The night breathes you. You are not separate. You are part of the great respiration of the cosmos. Think of the sailors who once navigated by these stars. They trusted the night's gusts to guide them, trusted the waves to carry them. They crossed oceans not with certainty, but with faith in rhythm, in repetition, in return. Tonight, you are like them. You do not know where your dreams will take you, but you know the stars will keep their places. You know the ocean will hold you. You know the night will not abandon you. Somewhere beneath you, turtles sleep tucked into coral caverns. Dolphins rest with one eye open, half brain awake, half brain dreaming. Even the smallest plankton drifts into stillness. The ocean is a world at rest, each being surrendering in its own way. You are not alone in your sleeping. You are joined by the whole sea, by the whole sky. The moon climbs higher, whiter, sharper. Its light paints silver across every crest of wave. The surface sparkles, endless sequins upon endless cloth. It is beautiful beyond measure, and yet gentle enough not to wake you. This is beauty that soothes, not beauty that demands. This is beauty that invites surrender. Your body grows heavy. Your thoughts grow light. You feel as though you are dissolving into the night, not vanishing, but becoming part of something greater. The stars above, the sea below, the silence within, all merging, all one. Sleep is not far now. You can feel it at the edges, like the tide creeping higher along the sand. It touches you softly, then recedes. It touches again, lingering longer. And soon it will wash over you completely, carrying you into its dark, gentle embrace. Let it come. Do not resist. The night is safe. The sea is kind. The stars are guardians. The waves are lullabies. Everything around you whispers the same truth. Rest. Rest now. Let the night sea hold you. Let the stars crown you. Let the moon guide you. You are not lost. You are home. You are the ocean. You are the sky. You are the endless heart of blue. Your body is water. Not only a little, not only a fraction, but mostly, deeply, undeniably, water. More than half of you, almost 3/4 of you. Every cell, every vein, every heartbeat carries the ocean inside. When you breathe, the air moves through passages shaped by salt water long ago. When you cry, your tears carry the same taste as the sea. When you bleed, your blood holds sodium, potassium, chloride, echoes of waves locked in your veins. You are not simply living near the ocean. You are ocean. You are a tide given skin. You are a wave given voice. You are a current that learned to walk. Close your eyes. Feel your heartbeat. It pulses, steady, patient. Each beat is a wave. Each pause is a tide receding. Your chest rises and falls like the surface of water under moonlight. Your body is a shoreline, and your breath is the sea arriving and leaving, arriving and leaving. Think of your veins as rivers. They branch and flow, carrying life the way rivers carry rain back to the ocean. Some fast, some slow, some deep, hidden, some wide, obvious, but all flowing toward the same truth. Movement, circulation, return. Your brain floats in liquid, clear, quiet, protective. Without it, thought would not be possible. Even the organ that gives you awareness is cradled in a small sea. And within that sea, tiny waves rise and fall with every breath, rocking your mind the way tides rock the shore. Your bones are salted stone. Your muscles are currents of water shaped into strength. Your lungs are tidal pools, filling, emptying, filling again. Your skin holds it all, the way the shoreline holds the restless sea. The ocean did not leave you when life came ashore. It came with you. It lives in you. It is you. Now imagine yourself lying still, listening to your breath. Every inhale is a wave arriving. Every exhale is a wave returning. You are the ocean floor, steady, patient, eternal. The rhythm above is only surface. The depth remains calm. When you sweat, the salt glitters on your skin like crystals drying on rocks. When you taste your tears, you taste the memory of waves. Your body remembers what your mind forgets. You were born of water. Your ancestors rose from it. Your blood carries it. Your life depends on it. This is why the sea feels like home. When you hear waves, your cells recognize the rhythm. When you see horizons of water, your heart slows. When you breathe salt air, your lungs remember their first element. It is not nostalgia. It is recognition. The body is not separate from the world. The body is world. Just as the earth is covered in ocean, so are you. Just as tides are pulled by the moon, so are you. Your sleep, your mood, your cycles, moved by gravity you cannot see. You are not merely under the sky. You are made of sky. You are not merely near the sea. You are made of sea. Think of dreams. They arrive like waves, foaming with images. They recede, leaving traces, fragments on the shore of waking. Sleep itself is an ocean you enter each night. You sink, you drift, you rise again. Every morning is a surface reached. Every night is a depth returned. Even silence within you is oceanic. Your pauses between breaths, your stillness when you listen, the moments where thought stops, where only being remains. This is your deep sea, dark, calm, necessary. Your heartbeat, steady, is a drum that began in water. Fish pumped fluids before hearts grew chambers. Creatures swam before lungs learned air. Life pulsed in tides before it pulsed in veins. When you listen to your chest, you are listening to the ocean's oldest memory. Do not fear the vastness within you. Do not fear the waves. Do not fear the storms. They are only reflections of the world you are part of. You are not fragile glass holding the sea. You are the sea itself, given shape for a while. Tonight, as you rest, think of your body not as separate, but as connected. Each drop of you is kin to the drops outside. Each pulse of you is kin to the tides. Each breath of you is kin to the wind that carries salt across shores. You are not small. You are not alone. You are ocean, resting in its own arms. So breathe, so drift. So let the waves within carry you into sleep. For just as the tides never fail, your breath will not fail. And just as the ocean endures, you endure. You are water, you are salt, you are wave, you are tide, you are ocean. In the beginning, before forests, before mountains wore green, before wings split the air, there was only ocean. The sea was cradle, the sea was womb, the sea was the first home. Within its waters, life stirred, tiny, invisible, fragile, a cell dividing, a spark repeating, an echo answering itself until it became chorus. From that chorus, everything grew. Algae spreading in silent mats, bacteria weaving air from sunlight, tiny creatures drifting in currents, carried like seeds by windless rivers of water. The ocean breathed before lungs. It pulsed before hearts. It remembered before minds. Every being alive today, every tree, every bird, every person carries that origin within. You are not apart from the sea. You are its continuation. how you are walking water, ancient ocean shaped into flesh. Close your eyes and imagine the first reef. Not coral yet, but stone gardens built by small lives layering themselves over centuries. Creatures hiding, feeding, drifting. Each moment soft, unhurried. Each step forward in evolution, a ripple that would one day reach you. Fish began here. Shells began here. Spines, fins, eyes, all inventions of the sea. Even your hand, now resting quietly, is a memory of fins spread wide, reshaped for earth, but born of water. The ocean is not past. It is present. Each wave carries fragments of life, too small to see. Each tide births new beginnings. Each drop contains the blueprint of the first spark. As you breathe tonight, know this: the air you take in was once made by ocean. Plankton drifting near the surface exhale oxygen that becomes sky. Half of every breath you take comes from them. Half your life is gift from beings smaller than dust, floating in endless blue. The sea sustains you even when you forget it. The food upon your plate, the clouds above your roof, the rain that softens the earth, all return to ocean. It is circle, not line. It is cycle, not end. Think of whales rising to breathe. Think of turtles crossing entire oceans to lay their eggs. Think of salmon swimming upstream, carrying salt inside them back to rivers. Every journey is tied to sea. Every return is tide. Even your own beginnings are oceanic. The womb was your first sea. You floated, weightless, nourished by tides of blood. Your ears learned to hear the pulse of liquid before they heard air. Your skin learned to feel water before it felt wind. Your first cradle was not different from the world's first cradle. Both were water. Both were ocean. And so, when you hear waves, when you smell salt, when you see horizons of blue, your body remembers. Not with words, not with thought, but with something deeper, older, certain. It remembers home. Life did not leave the ocean entirely. Even now, shores are places of abundance. Mangroves breathing with roots, half in water, half in air. Birds skimming the surface, feeding upon fish that rise at dusk. Seals, otters, dolphins, all border dwellers never fully land, never fully see. The edge is alive because the sea still cradles it. And within you, the sea still cradles too. Your cells swim in fluids salted like ocean. Your heart pumps tides through your body. Your sleep carries you like currents, pulling you into deep, returning you to surface. The pattern repeats, as it always has. Imagine now standing at the shore at dawn. The sky is pale, the waves are gentle, and with each wave that rolls in, you see not only water, but life. Billions of invisible beings, drifting, glowing faintly, feeding whales, feeding fish, feeding the world. The smallest carries the largest. The fragile sustains the mighty. This is the truth of the sea. When you eat ocean. When you breathe ocean. When you live ocean. You cannot separate. You cannot divide. You can only remember. Life has always been fragile. Extinctions have come, storms of time sweeping species away. But the ocean endures. It keeps singing, keeps birthing, keeps carrying forward. Every new dawn, the plankton rise again. Every new night, the whales sing again. The chorus never ends. You are part of that chorus. You may feel small, like one drop, like one grain of sand, like one voice in the vast dark. But the sea teaches you that small is not nothing. Small is origin. Small is beginning. And from small, everything grows. Think of your breath again. Slow, gentle, a tide in your chest. You are ocean breathing. You are life remembering itself. You are proof that the first spark still glows, carried through time into this very moment. The stars above you shine across billions of years. The sea below you carries billions of lives. And you, between them, are both star and sea, both ancient and new, both fragile and infinite. Let yourself rest in this knowing. Let yourself be carried by the truth that you are never separate, never alone. The ocean flows in you. Life flows in you. Sleep flows in you. And as you drift tonight, you are not simply closing your eyes. You are returning to the sea, returning to the first cradle, returning to the endless heart of blue. The ocean remembers. It has no book, no scroll, no stone tablet carved with signs. Its memory is water. Its library is tide. Its language is whisper. Every wave carries history, not written in words, but in salt, in current, in sound. Every drop has touched countless shores, countless skies, countless lives. To touch the sea is to touch everything that has ever been. Imagine standing at the edge of time, before ships, before cities, before even voices. The ocean was already there, breathing softly against the land, whispering into stone. Its whispers carved cliffs. They shaped valleys. They softened mountains, patiently, endlessly. With hands made of water, it reshaped the earth. The ocean speaks slowly. It does not rush. Its sentences take centuries. Its pauses are longer than empires. Yet still it speaks, always. When you listen to the waves tonight, you are hearing echoes that began long ago. Not only from storms of yesterday, not only from winds of today. You are hearing the voice of something that has spoken since the world was young. Close your eyes. Let the sound arrive. It comes in a hush, then a sigh, then a retreat. It comes again, unhurried, unchanged, eternal. This is the whisper of the ocean. This is the language of forever. It tells you of beginnings, how life first stirred in its cradle, how cells danced in liquid darkness, how the first fins sliced water, the first eyes saw light refracted through waves. It tells you of journeys, of creatures migrating with currents older than maps, of whales singing across hemispheres, of turtles finding beaches remembered not by thought, but by blood. It tells you of endings, of species gone, dissolved back into water, of islands swallowed, coastlines shifted, of storms that came and passed, leaving silence behind. And through all these stories, one truth remains. The ocean keeps whispering. It does not forget. It does not stop. It only softens, retells, renews. Think of fossils found in cliffs, seashells embedded in stone high upon mountains, proof that once the sea reached there, proof that memory is not only in water, but in the bones of Earth itself. The ocean leaves traces everywhere, quiet signatures of its endless story. You too are such a trace. Your body holds the ocean's memory, in your blood, in your tears, in your very breath. You are the whisper continuing. Listen again. The waves do not shout. They do not demand. They murmur. They hush. They soothe. Even when storms roar, the roar is only surface. Beneath, the whisper continues, always steady, always present, always ancient. It is the same whisper heard by the first human standing on a shore, the same whisper heard by sailors steering under starlight, the same whisper you hear now, lying still, waiting for sleep. You share this with every life that has ever leaned close to the sea. The ocean is older than memory, yet it remembers everything. It remembers the glaciers melting, feeding it rivers of ice. It remembers meteors falling, stirring tsunamis in its depths. It remembers the footsteps of children on beaches now gone, washed away, but not lost, for nothing is lost. Everything is carried. Everything is folded into the whisper, even your own quiet thoughts tonight. They too join the ocean. They ripple outward, dissolve, become part of something vast. You do not need to hold them. The sea will hold them for you. Think of dreams as whispers too, soft, fleeting, carried on currents of sleep. You may not remember them in morning, but the ocean remembers. It keeps the fragments, carries them into silence, returns them as calm. The stars above are whispers of light, traveling across millennia. The sea below is whispers of sound, traveling across miles. Both meet in you. You are the place where starlight and sea waves converge. You are the listener of two eternities. And what do they say? Rest. Be still. You are part of us. You have always been part of us. Your worries are small compared to oceans. Your fears are brief compared to stars. Yet neither ocean nor stars dismiss you. They cradle you. They whisper to you. They remind you that small is not lost. Small is precious. Small is infinite in its own way. So let the whispers carry you tonight. Let them fold around your mind the way waves fold around the shore. Let them soften your edges. Let them smooth your thoughts until you are no longer separate, until you are whisper too. You are not noise. You are not storm. You are not burden. You are whisper. You are ocean's breath moving through a human chest. You are ancient memory disguised as present moment. You are fragment of forever resting in the endless heart of blue. The horizon fades, not line, not edge, only blending. Sea melts into sky. Sky melts into sea. You drift in between, and slowly, you too begin to melt. At first you still feel boundaries, the shape of your body, the weight of your arms, the rhythm of your chest rising and falling. But the longer you float, the softer the edges become. Fingers blur into water. Feet blur into tide. Your breath no longer stops at your lips. It drifts outward, joining air, joining ocean. You are dissolving, not vanishing, becoming. The sea accepts you. It does not resist. It welcomes you as though you have always belonged here. and truly you have. From the salt in your blood to the rhythm of your lungs, you have always been sea disguised as skin. The longer you surrender, the less you feel separation. The water does not hold you apart from itself. It holds you as itself. One drop cannot be different from the wave. One wave cannot be different from the sea. Thoughts still arrive, but they do not stay sharp. They soften, dissolve, become currents moving outward. A memory touches you, then fades into blue. A worry brushes you, then disappears into horizon. Nothing clings, nothing resists, everything drifts. This is the secret of the ocean. To dissolve is not to lose. To dissolve is to belong. You remember the salt upon your lips. You remember the tide against your skin. You remember the stars reflected in black water. But now, the remembering itself begins to melt. No longer memory, no longer story, only presence, only flow. Above you, stars blur in their reflections. They seem to scatter into waves, then return to sky, then scatter again. You cannot tell which is true, but truth is no longer question. Both are real. Both are infinite. Both hold you. Your breath deepens, and even that begins to feel less like yours. The inhale is the sea gathering itself. The exhale is the sea releasing. Your lungs are not your own. They are tide pools. They are waves rising and falling in slow rhythm. You are dissolving further now. Your skin is not barrier. It is membrane. It lets through sound. It lets through water. It lets through light. You are porous, and through the pores flows infinity. Imagine your body as a cloud of particles, each one a drop of sea, each one drifting outward, joining the whole. You do not vanish. You expand. You spread into currents, into stars, into silence. There is no need to hold your shape. Shape is temporary. Belonging is eternal. The fear of dissolving was always fear of ending. But now you see, there is no ending here. There is only changing. There is only returning. You are the ocean. You are the sky. You are the tide. You are the wave. You are the endless heart of blue melting into itself. The surface rocks gently. Foam forms, vanishes, forms again. You realize you are like that foam. You appear, you shine briefly, you fade, but the water remains. Always water, always whole. Sleep approaches in the same way. It softens your edges. It melts your thoughts. It carries you outward until you cannot tell where you stop and silence begins. Sleep is not disappearance. Sleep is union. Sleep is the ocean carrying you back into itself. Let it happen. Do not resist. Melt. Dissolve. Become. The tide does not fear the horizon. The horizon does not fear the tide. Both blend, both hold, both endure. So too with you. So too with this night. Breathe once more. Feel the edges fade. Feel the boundaries blur. Feel yourself melt into the vast. You are drop. You are sea. You are dream. You are sleep. You are infinite. The journey is long, but the return is gentle. You have drifted through waves. You have followed tides. You have sunk into depths, listened to whispers, seen lights in darkness, felt storms, walked upon shores of memory. And now you are coming back, not to leave the ocean, but to return within it, to rest inside its arms. The night is quiet. The sea is calmer than before. The stars above lean closer, their reflections trembling upon water, like lanterns hung from heaven. The moon writes its silver path once more, a soft road leading you inward. You are tired, but it is the good tired, the tired of having traveled far, of having seen much, of having surrendered. The ocean breathes slowly. You breathe with it. One tide, one chest, one rhythm. The two of you are no longer separate. You are ocean breathing itself into peace. Imagine the shoreline waiting, sand smooth, waiting for your step. The tide pulls back, offering you ground. But tonight you do not need to walk. You only need to lie upon it, to rest as the water curls near, then slips away, then curls near again. This rhythm is lullaby. This rhythm is cradle. This rhythm is return. Every journey ends not with arrival, but with belonging. And here, at the end of this path, you realize you never left the ocean at all. You were always within it. You were always carried. The reef you passed, the storm you endured, the lights you followed, the songs you heard, they are all within you now, woven into your own tides. And yet, the ocean does not ask you to keep them heavy. It allows you to set them down, as waves set down foam upon sand. You may let go of all images, all sounds, all stories. You may keep only the stillness they have left behind. The stars above know this stillness. They burn with it, silent, patient, their light traveling centuries to reach your eyes. The sea below knows this stillness. It holds entire worlds of silence in its depth. And now, you too know this stillness. It has always been waiting inside you. The return is not loud. It is not sudden. It is soft. It is slow. It is the way dawn comes, coloring the horizon without hurry. It is the way a breath leaves the body, not forced, only released. Close your eyes deeper. Feel your thoughts recede like tide. Each one dissolves into horizon. Each one becomes smaller, quieter, until only the calm remains. Your body grows heavy, but it is the heaviness of being held. Like a stone at the bottom of a pool, you do not sink in fear. You rest in belonging. The water above is shield. The earth below is cradle. The sky around is blanket. And so you rest. Return does not mean ending. It means circle. It means cycle. Just as water rises to cloud and falls again as rain, you too return, night after night, to the ocean of sleep. Each time is new. Each time is the same. The journey continues, yet the peace endures. You are no longer walker. You are no longer watcher. You are no longer thinker. You are only being. Being within ocean, being within stillness, being within endless heart of blue. The tide touches your feet now. It climbs softly, cool against your skin. It does not rush. It waits, then pulls away. Then it returns, climbing higher, softer, steadier. With each wave, more of you melts into water. With each wave, more of you returns home. Your arms are water. Your chest is tide. Your breath is current. Your mind is sky. All of you is ocean. There is no need to try anymore. There is no need to hold. There is no need to ask. The sea knows. The sea carries. The sea whispers, rest. And so you do. You rest, you drift, you sleep, not as ending, not as forgetting, but as returning. Returning to yourself, returning to ocean, returning to the silence that is not empty, but full. The night grows deeper. The stars keep watch. The waves breathe for you. And you, safe, whole, infinite, melt completely into peace. You have returned. You are home. You are ocean. You are sleep. You are the endless heart of blue.